All right, take two. I tried to record something and then I guess I must have touched something on the screen and took like a dirt face picture, which I am not going to post, by the way. You can frame this video if you really want that. But I don't know what the hell happened. Anyway, so this is take two. I'm doing this video recording. It's a little bit easier for me than typing stuff out. Excuse me. I've been trying to do voice to text and so some mixed results there. So this is a little bit easier mode. That way I can talk to folks semi-directly this way. Anyway, so kind of giving a little bit of backstory for context so people know, people who might not have been in the loop up to this point, or, just know certain things, but not everything. Almost exactly a month ago, I guess yesterday, Neil, my husband, for those who don't know, Neil and I were traveling in Ireland, and Northern Ireland, and we were there because I was going to be playing a hockey tournament, and I played this tournament before, and, looking forward to playing again, and so we were on the ice for warm-ups, and I was down stretching. We had extra time. I'm not usually a big stretcher. At least I don't usually do the ice stretches. I'll try to stretch out or do some other stuff. And most of the warm-up time, since we don't have a lot of time, we don't have like pros that got like 20 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it is. We don't get that much time at the recreational league level. So, I try, for my warm-ups just to like get some blood flowing and get the body, get the legs unstiffened and, maybe do a little bit of stick handling, a little bit of shooting, try warming the goalie up if they want it, stuff like that. But I was on the ice and I was stretching-ish, just kind of warming up. And I was having a lot of difficulty getting up. We were getting ready to play the game. Warm-ups were ending. And everybody's like, come on, Erica, we got to get going. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I can't get up. Like, I don't know why. Normally, unless I'm injured or real freaking tired, which I was tired, and I thought that's all it was, that I was just really, really tired. Jet lag with, we had hiked in around Giant's Causeway that morning. And I'm like, man, I'm just really tired. That's so weird. And I can't get up. And there were some people that were trying to help me up. And then my left leg, started flailing. Not cramping. Totally different sensation, totally different thing. It was like it had a mind of its own. Like somebody had just like sent, jolts or whatever, sent some electric through it, some electricity through it, and just kind of like was just flopping around. And they're like, come on, Erica, let's, they were trying to help. And nobody knew what was going on at the time. I sure as hell didn't. I didn't at that time, I think when my legs started going, then it was a little bit of a tip off that, there was a clue that something was amiss, but still at that time really didn't know exactly. And anyway, so when they were, telling me that, get your leg up or let's go. And, they weren't being mean. They were just like encouraging and trying to help. I remember like saying, I can't. And then like, I couldn't really talk. And then I lost consciousness. And when it came to was when I was being put on a stretcher by the paramedics. And I had been filled in on some other details that I wasn't privy to because I wasn't conscious for those things. But luckily didn't aspirate, didn't, they were able to open, clear my airway and get some of my gear off. Fortunately, I think one of the things, because I'm kind of ridiculous that way, I was thinking about what happened to my skates? Are my skates okay? So, pleased to report that my skates are in fact fine. But so got off, got myself on, or well, I didn't get myself on. They got me on the stretcher and got me in the ambulance. I went to the hospital, Ulster Hospital, which is like minutes away from the rink. So like already, like all of these things that are just like, if you're going to have some bad shit happen, like probably the best situation to have bad shit happen, on the ice. I'm already down on the, like pretty much on the ground already with the helmet. So when I had my seizure, it's not like I was like bouncing my head off the ice, thankfully. And, and the hospital was really close. So I was able to go to the ER. They did some tests. And turned out that, at first they thought, oh, you might have had a wee stroke. I'm like, what the hell is a wee stroke? That's just because everything is wee. In Ireland, or at least in Northern Ireland, when a wee coffee, when a wee lunch, you going just wait a wee minute. So everything is wee. So they thought maybe it was a stroke at first. So that was like the CT, came out with some abnormalities. So they're like, well, we need to do an MRI to get a little bit of a clearer picture. I'm like, okay. And that resulted in having to stay a little bit longer because this was like over the weekend. And I guess they don't do MRIs over the weekend in Northern Ireland, or at least under the NHS system. And they kept apologizing. We're sorry. It's, it's just how the system, like, whatever. I mean, as long as you get this done. But we had to rebook our flight because we were supposed to have left that Monday, and I didn't get the MRI, I think, until like Tuesday. But then the results from the MRI came back, revealed that I had a brain tumor, and that's apparently what caused the seizure. And so had to go back, I was able to get the flight rebooked and found out that since it wasn't a stroke, it was safe to try to fly back home. So that was fortunate. And so we flew back, got home, got an appointment. We're able to get an appointment really super quick turnaround at Northwestern in Chicago, and met with Dr. Sonnabend, and did an initial consultation. My sister took me to that appointment. And, confirmed, yes, this is a brain tumor and it needs to come out. So we're going to get surgery. So other than it needing to physically come out, they also need to be able to test it to see what kind of tumor it is, various things about it, find out various things about it. Because that way they'll know stuff about like treatment, prognosis, like all that other stuff, right? So, had the surgery on June 1st, on Monday, June 1st. So that's been about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks. And then I was in the ICU for a little while immediately after the surgery. And I think in the hospital just for like another day or two after that. I actually was able to be released pretty quickly. Apparently I was doing really, really well, recovering. And I was able to go home, I think, that following Thursday. And been pretty much trying to rest and recover a bit since then. And then, all right, I already see this is 8 minutes. I'm going to try to keep it under 10. Fingers crossed. So had my post-op follow-up with the neurologist, the neurosurgeon today, this morning. And even though we don't have everything back from the pathology, we do know enough to know that unfortunately I will have to undergo some chemo and radiation starting next week. So that was kind of shit news, but wasn't super surprised, in part because we have a bit of a history of cancer in the family in general, not brain tumors. I think I'm the first one I know of anyone in the family with that particular kind. My mom had stage 4 breast cancer diagnosed at 47, and I'm 48. So a little eerie. But if anything, I thought, if I was going to be diagnosed with some sort of cancer, I figured it would have been like breast cancer, ovarian cancer, something like that. Brain cancer, that came out of freaking nowhere. But they did say it was a primary brain tumor, which if you're going to have one, there's primary and secondary, and primary starts in the brain. And it's not something that started somewhere else and metastasized into the brain. So that's some good news, is that there, doesn't seem to have been any metastasis involved, which means likely don't have cancer or tumors in other parts of my body. And apparently brain tumors tend to stay in the brain, and it's unlikely it's going to metastasize. Now, what could happen, especially with this particular kind of tumor that I have, and again, they're going to know more when they get more information from the pathology, but what we do know now is that it is pretty aggressive. It's somewhat of a higher grade. They don't do stage for for brain cancer, for brain tumors. It's like grade 1 through 4 or something like that. And the initial appointment, the doctor didn't think it was either extreme. It wasn't 1, wasn't 4. He couldn't, he wouldn't know for sure until after the tumor was removed and they did the pathology on it. But what we do know now is, yes, we'll have to do some chemo and radiation. And that starts next week. I think I have to do it every day for 6 weeks. So that's going to, involve some schlepping. Luckily, I don't have to go all the way downtown. We can go to Central DuPage Hospital in Warrenville for like the radiation, and then the chemo part, it's going to be a pill, so it's not going to be like the IV chemo. So then other than that, I'm going to be doing physical and occupational therapy for, I don't know exactly how long, several weeks, probably 6 weeks also. Everything's to be like a 6 weeks kind of trial or cycle. And like I said, start tomorrow, 3 times a week, like 3 hours each session. So it's going to be a lot. But I'm looking forward to it because I'm really wanting to get kind of my coordination back. It's been really weird, like with some visual field cuts, a little bit of loss of some of my peripheral vision on my left, where it's hard to see certain things or exactly where things are in space related to where I am, depth perception, stuff like that. So it makes things easier for me to run into. So I have to be very careful. I kind of have to sweep my head. I have to kind of almost look like friggin' Terminator or something like that. They said lighthouse, but I don't know. In any case, I just have to be a lot more careful and slow when I'm moving around, which is fine. But that's getting better. Trying to eat. It's getting a little bit better. It's still awkward. It's hard to kind of describe the feeling. Because I can see, like, it's not that I have like literal, blind spots where I can't see stuff. It's just more like where things appear in my field of view. Like when and where they appear. So I can probably be surprised very, very easily, especially if somebody stops suddenly in front of me. I'm probably going to run into that person because it's going to be hard for me to gauge, where they are. And if somebody like walks, kind of in front of me. So I just have to be a little bit more cautious. Anyway, I think that's probably where I'll leave it. I'm already fucking almost 15 minutes. Excuse the language here, but I don't care if you're offended. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, that's where things are as of today, June 16th, I think it is. Yeah. Tuesday, June 16th. Yeah. We'll provide more updates as soon as I have more updates, but luckily I feel overall okay, in terms of I'm not really in a great deal of pain. I just get a little bit more tired, a little more quickly. And I really want to be able to move around better. I mean, it's going to be a long time before I can drive, especially with seizure stuff. I can't. I'm basically forbidden for driving for like 6 months. So that kind of sucks. The loss of independence kind of sucks. But we're navigating that. I have such a great support network and staff. If I'm going to gush over it, I'm going to totally just break down in tears. So I'm going to try not to do that. I'm just going to try to be more straightforward about it and say, look, there's so many people I have to thank. so many people I'm grateful for. I think top of the list for sure is going to be my husband. It's definitely been really hard on him for a lot of reasons, and I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative for my hockey family, my family, my sisters, um, and just friends that have reached out and sending encouraging words and positive thoughts and stuff. So I'm a lucky girl. This is a shitty situation, but in all of that, it's good to see people showing up, in a lot of ways, and people that have sent food, sent meals. Had some teammates come and visit with a nice card, a couple of cards. And yeah, I just miss being out and about, and really miss playing. So cannot wait until I'm able, and I'm pretty determined. So we'll see. It might take a while, but that is one of my top goals is getting back out on the ice and doing stuff I love, around people I love and appreciate. And especially with my husband. I mean, we started the hockey stuff together, and we were hoping to play on a team together this summer. Obviously, my brain had other ideas, but I'm a pretty stubborn person for people who know me, so I'm pretty determined to get better, listen to the doctors, do what I need to do, take good care of myself as I possibly can. Yeah, so, and just keep kicking ass, I think, the biggest question mark for me is going to be work related. Is I have some amazing colleagues and friends, who you are. My assistant have been just so instrumental in helping mitigate or just covering for me and doing kind of just what essential stuff that needs to be handled while I've been out. And I'm thinking of next steps because if I don't know if my health kind of situation is a little bit up in the air right now, maybe not a real great idea to continue in this role. So I want to make sure I can be there, provide reliable, competent representation, and just have to kind of see figuring that out with a lot of help. And so yeah, so this video really just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, to say thank you for all you folks. We're really grateful for all of the support, for the food, for the visits, for the nice words and checking in. And like I said, I would feel really bad if I started naming names and I forgot to mention so and so. So yeah, you know who you are. So I'll hopefully just leave it at that and know that we thank you so much. And yeah, probably still need your support in some ways, at least with the good thoughts, prayers, vibes, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, all right. I've already been going on way too long here. So I'm going to cut it off here. And if you've already followed along all this way, thanks for sticking around. I know I can sometimes be a little long-winded. But yeah, just wanted to express, it's really hard to, properly, I think, express in words how thankful and grateful we are for folks. And I hope to see some folks again in the near future. Can't get rid of me that easily. Sorry, suckers. But anyway, yeah, all right. I'm going to cut this video off for now. Post more updates as soon as we get them. Thanks.